Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth, while others struggle despite working twice as hard? What if I told you that the difference between financial struggle and abundance might be as simple as 3 exact words you're not saying yet? Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another transformational video where we dive deep into the secrets of abundance that most people will never discover. Today, we're exploring how to command your first $1 million from the universe with just 3 exact words, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Joseph Murphy. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Now, let's talk about something that might completely transform your financial reality. Has this ever happened to you? You've tried affirmations, vision boards, and positive thinking, but your bank account still looks the same, or worse. You stand in front of the mirror saying, "I am wealthy," while your bank account laughs at you with overdraft fees. If so, you're not alone, and more importantly, it's not your fault. Here's the shocking truth. We spend more time researching which phone to buy than examining the words that come out of our mouths every single day. Yet your phone isn't going to make you a millionaire, but your words absolutely can. The universe responds directly to your language patterns. This isn't woo-woo nonsense. It's a cosmic code that wealthy people have discovered and used for generations. It's been hiding in plain sight all along, waiting for you to crack it open. I know what you're thinking right now. Here we go again. Another person telling me I can think my way to riches while I'm sitting here struggling to pay bills. Trust me, I understand that skepticism. I've been there myself, wondering how mere words could possibly bridge the gap between financial struggle and abundance. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might surprise you. The difference between those who attract wealth effortlessly and those who struggle isn't their education, background, or even their circumstances. It's something far more subtle and infinitely more powerful. It's the invisible energy patterns they create with their words, thoughts, and beliefs. Every word you speak is like dropping a pebble into a cosmic pond, creating ripples that travel outward and eventually return to you as your lived experience. When you consistently speak the language of lack and limitation, you're essentially placing orders with the universe for more scarcity. But what if you could change your orders? What if 3 specific words could completely transform your relationship with money and open doors you didn't even know existed? What if wealth creation isn't about working harder but speaking differently? The wealthy understand something most people miss entirely. They don't just think differently about money, they speak an entirely different language. Their words create bridges to abundance rather than walls around scarcity. And the beautiful part is, if you're ready to master these prosperity principles and transform your financial reality, hit that subscribe button now and join our community of conscious wealth creators. The wealthy understand something most people miss entirely. They don't just think differently about money, they speak an entirely different language. Their words create bridges to abundance rather than walls around scarcity. And the beautiful part is that once you understand this hidden truth, you can begin playing this game of abundance immediately. Let's be honest about why most conventional manifestation techniques fall flat. They're teaching you to paint a veneer of positivity over a foundation of doubt and fear. It's like trying to grow roses in a garden full of weeds. The beautiful intentions simply can't take root. When you stand in front of your mirror repeating, "I am wealthy," while your reality screams the opposite, you're creating an internal contradiction that your subconscious mind cannot reconcile. This inner conflict becomes a roadblock on your journey to abundance. The revelation that changed everything for me was understanding that wealth manifestation isn't about forcing yourself to believe something that feels untrue. It's about shifting the energy patterns you're already sending out through your daily words. This mindset transformation happens at a level far deeper than most people ever reach. Think about the extraordinary impact of your words. Each sentence you speak is like coding in the universal software system. The universe doesn't judge whether your words are positive or negative. It simply responds to the vibrational signature they carry. That's the breakthrough that most money manifestation teachers miss entirely. What fascinates me most about this whole process is that the difference between those who struggle financially and those who attract wealth isn't what most people think. It's not your background, education, connections, or even how hard you work. I've seen brilliantly educated people struggle while others with minimal formal education build empires. I've witnessed hard workers barely making ends meet, while others seem to attract money with half the effort. The decisive factor behind the scenes is actually the invisible energy patterns you create through your words, thoughts, and beliefs. These patterns form a kind of energetic blueprint that the universe responds to with mathematical precision. Once you understand how to adjust this blueprint, everything changes, often with surprising speed. The transformation begins when you recognize that your words aren't just descriptions of your reality, they're active creators of it. Most people unconsciously speak a language of limitation all day long, then wonder why abundance seems to elude them. It's like planting tomato seeds while insisting you're growing roses, then being confused when tomatoes appear. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing the 3 exact words that can completely rewrite your financial DNA. These words act as energetic keys that unlock doors previously invisible to you. They're simple to use, but extraordinarily powerful when applied consistently. I discovered these words during my darkest financial moment, and they became the cornerstone of my journey from struggle to abundance. If what I'm sharing resonates with you on a soul level, write in the comments, "I'm ready to speak wealth." This simple declaration will be your first step toward aligning your words with the prosperity you deserve. The 3 exact words that can completely rewrite your financial DNA create a powerful shift in your energy signature. But before I reveal them, let's understand exactly how your words are currently shaping your financial reality behind the scenes. Imagine every single word you speak as a pebble dropped into a cosmic pond. This isn't just a poetic metaphor, it's a profound revelation about how energy works in our universe. When you speak, those sound vibrations create ripples that travel outward into the quantum field that surrounds us. Those ripples don't just disappear into nothingness. They travel outward, interacting with the fabric of reality, and eventually return to you as experiences that precisely match the vibrational signature you sent out. This is the hidden mechanism behind what some call the law of attraction, but I prefer to think of it as the law of resonance. Like attracts like is too simplistic. What's actually happening is a sophisticated energetic matching process where your words serve as the initial blueprint for what manifests in your life journey. Let me share a practical revelation that transformed my understanding forever. Speaking in terms of lack and limitation is essentially placing a very specific order with the universe. It's like programming your personal reality software with a precise code that says, "Please send me more of what I don't want." Think about it this way. If you're constantly saying things like, "I never have enough money," "I can't afford that," or "Why do I always struggle financially?" you're essentially coding your reality to continue delivering those exact experiences. The universe doesn't judge whether your words are positive or negative. It simply matches the energy you're broadcasting. One of the most illuminating mindset shifts comes from understanding what I call the cosmic restaurant analogy. Speaking from lack is exactly like walking into a restaurant and repeatedly ordering disappointment with a side of financial stress, then feeling frustrated when that's precisely what keeps showing up on your plate. Would you walk into a restaurant and order, "I can't afford the steak," and expect to receive abundance? Of course not. The universe is essentially the most literal-minded waiter you've ever encountered. It doesn't hear, "I don't want to be broke," and bring you wealth. It hears broke and brings you more experiences that match that energy signature. This isn't a punishment. It's simply how the system is designed to operate. The transformation begins when you recognize that you have complete freedom to change your order at any time. You can walk into that cosmic restaurant with a new level of awareness and order exactly what you want, rather than focusing on what you don't want. This is where the 3 exact words come into play, as they fundamentally change what you're ordering from the universe. The profound impact of this revelation is that it puts the power back in your hands. You're no longer a victim of circumstance, but the conscious creator of your financial reality. Every word you speak is a deliberate choice that shapes what manifests in your life. If this cosmic restaurant analogy clicked something into place for you, type in the comments, "I'm changing my order." Let's see how many of us are ready to place a new order with the universe today. Now, let me share something truly eye-opening about millionaires that completely changed my perspective on wealth creation. After studying the habits of wealthy individuals for over a decade, I discovered something that rarely makes it into mainstream financial advice. The surprising revelation is that millionaires aren't necessarily smarter, more talented, or even harder working than you. That's right, the key distinction isn't about IQ, natural gifts, or even putting in more hours. What truly separates them is something far more accessible to all of us. They've simply mastered the art of speaking in alignment with what they want to create. Behind the scenes of every financial empire is a person who has methodically eliminated what Joseph Murphy called poverty talk from their vocabulary and replaced it with language that opens doors rather than slamming them shut. This linguistic blueprint becomes the foundation upon which their wealth is built. Think about the millionaires you admire. When you listen closely to their words, you'll notice they never say things like, "I can't afford that," or "That's too expensive." Instead, they use phrases like, "I'm allocating my resources differently right now," or "I'm exploring creative ways to make that happen." The substance might seem similar, but the energetic impact is worlds apart. This insight leads us to what I call the magic genie paradigm, a powerful mindset shift that can transform your relationship with money overnight. Imagine for a moment that you have a magic genie following you around all day, granting every single thing you say out loud. Not what you think silently, but specifically what you vocalize to yourself and others. How differently would you speak if you truly believed this was happening? You'd immediately stop saying things like, "I can't afford that," or "money doesn't grow on trees," or "I'm always broke." You'd realize that these seemingly innocent everyday phrases are actually powerful spells you're casting on your own financial future. Each word carries an energetic signature that the universe faithfully mirrors back to you through your experiences. The hidden truth that changed everything for me was recognizing that we actually do have this magic genie. It's called the universe, and it's constantly listening to and responding to our words with mathematical precision. The challenge is that most people are completely unaware of this mechanism, so they continue casting negative financial spells all day long while wondering why abundance remains elusive. What makes this journey so transformative is that once you understand this principle, you can begin recoding your financial reality immediately. You don't need special qualifications, connections, or even an existing financial cushion. You simply need awareness of the words you're using and the conscious decision to change them. This brings us to the first of the 3 exact words that can completely rewrite your relationship with money. This word creates an immediate energetic shift from victimhood to empowerment, from limitation to possibility. But before I reveal it, I want you to become aware of how frequently you might be using disempowering language without even realizing it. If you've caught yourself using phrases like, "I can't afford it," or "money doesn't grow on trees" recently, write in the comments, "Ready to change my spells." Let's acknowledge together the power of the words we've been using and our commitment to choose them more consciously. Subscribe now to continue this journey of financial transformation together. I'm committed to bringing you more powerful strategies that can command abundance into your life. Let me reveal the first of the 3 exact words that can completely transform your financial reality. Choose. This powerful word creates an immediate shift in your energetic signature. Instead of saying, "I can't afford that," try saying, "I choose to invest my money differently right now." Feel the difference? One makes you a victim of circumstances, while the other positions you as the empowered architect of your financial decisions. But before we explore all 3 transformative words fully, we need to establish a critical foundation: awareness. The journey to financial abundance begins with becoming conscious of your current language patterns. This awareness stage is absolutely essential, and yet it's the step most people skip entirely in their rush to change their circumstances. For the next week, I invite you to embark on a fascinating self-discovery expedition. Become a detective of your own speech. Notice, without judgment or criticism, how many times you speak about money from a place of lack. This mindfulness practice is like taking inventory before restocking your mental warehouse. You can't effectively change what you're not even aware exists. The revelation that changed everything for me was discovering just how frequently I was sabotaging my own abundance through unconscious language patterns. Once I started paying attention, I was shocked to find I was using phrases like, "I can't afford that," or "That's too expensive," dozens of times. Each day, each utterance was like planting another seed of limitation in my financial garden. Try this illuminating exercise. Carry a small notebook with you for just 1 day and make a tally mark each time you say something like, "That costs too much," "I wish I could afford that," "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "I'm living paycheck to paycheck." Don't try to change these patterns yet. Just observe them with curiosity rather than judgment. This data-gathering mission reveals the vibrational signature you've been broadcasting to the universe day after day, year after year. What makes this practice so transformative is that it brings your unconscious patterns into the light of awareness. Most people have no idea how consistently they speak from a place of financial lack until they start paying attention. It's like suddenly noticing a background noise that's been playing so long you stopped hearing it. Yet it's been influencing you the entire time. Remember, this isn't about beating yourself up for these discoveries. It's about shining a light on patterns that have been operating in the shadows. Awareness itself is powerful. It's the first step in any lasting transformation. Once you see these patterns clearly, you'll understand exactly why your financial reality has been mirroring these vibrations back to you with such precision. The insights you gain during this detective work will likely surprise you. You might discover that you complain about prices, express worry about bills, or make self-deprecating jokes about being broke far more often than you realized. These aren't just innocent comments. They're energetic instructions to the universe about what you expect to experience. If you're willing to become this financial detective in your own life for just 1 week, comment below with "I accept the detective challenge." Your commitment to this awareness practice is the first step toward completely rewiring your relationship with prosperity. Once you've completed your detective work, and gained awareness of your current language patterns, you're ready for a paradigm shift that will completely transform how you relate to abundance. Here's a profound truth that Joseph Murphy discovered and that wealthy people intuitively understand. Abundance is not something you need to chase, beg for, or prove yourself worthy of. It's actually the natural flow of the universe. This revelation completely inverts how most people approach wealth creation. Instead of seeing abundance as something rare that you must struggle to attain, recognize that it's the default setting of the cosmos. Scarcity is actually the artificial interruption of that natural flow. It's like a dam placed in a river that was meant to flow freely. Your limiting language has been that dam, and now you're about to remove it brick by brick. When you align your words with this fundamental truth, you stop swimming against the current and start flowing with the natural abundance of life. This alignment begins with the first of our three exact words, choose. This word carries revolutionary power because it immediately shifts you from victim to creator, from passive recipient to active participant in your financial story. Let me show you the transformation this single word creates in real-world scenarios. Instead of saying, "I can't afford it," try saying, "I choose to invest my money differently right now." Feel the energetic shift. The facts haven't changed, but your relationship to them has completely transformed. One statement makes you a victim of circumstances beyond your control. The other makes you the empowered decision-maker in your financial life. This linguistic alchemy works in countless everyday situations. Instead of, "I have to pay these bills," try, "I choose to honor my financial commitments." Instead of, "I'm stuck in this low-paying job," try, "I'm choosing this position while I create my next opportunity." The external reality may look identical, but your internal experience and the energy you broadcast to the universe undergoes a quantum shift. The word choose carries the vibration of sovereignty. It reminds you that even in challenging circumstances, you still retain the ultimate power of choice. This awareness alone begins to crack open doors of possibility that were previously invisible to you. The universe responds not to your circumstances, but to your energetic relationship with those circumstances. Behind the scenes, something remarkable happens when you incorporate choose into your financial vocabulary. Your brain's reticular activating system, the filtering mechanism that determines what you notice in your environment, begins scanning for opportunities rather than limitations. You start perceiving options where before you saw only obstacles. This isn't magical thinking, it's neuroscience applied to prosperity consciousness. What makes this approach so distinctive is that it doesn't require you to deny your current financial reality or pretend to be something you're not. It simply shifts how you relate to that reality, which in turn changes the vibrational signature you're broadcasting to the universe. From this new foundation, everything begins to shift, often in surprising and delightful ways. If you've already started implementing the word choose in your financial vocabulary, share your experience by commenting, "I choose abundance." Your declaration sets powerful intentions while inspiring others on the same path. Now, let's explore how this philosophy of choice extends to reframing even the most challenging financial situations. This linguistic alchemy can transform the heaviest financial burdens into opportunities for growth and expansion. Consider the powerful difference between saying, "I'm broke and I'm in a temporary cash flow situation that I'm actively improving." The objective facts remain identical, but the energetic blueprint you're creating shifts dramatically. When you declare yourself broke, you're cementing that identity into your subconscious mind and broadcasting that limitation to the universe. It's a closed statement that offers no pathway forward. But when you reframe it as a temporary cash flow situation, You immediately introduce the elements of impermanence and personal agency. You're acknowledging the current reality while simultaneously opening the door to transformation. This reframing technique works across all areas of financial concern. Instead of saying, "I'm drowning in debt," try, "I'm implementing a strategic repayment plan that improves daily." Instead of, "I'll never be able to afford a home," try, "I'm researching creative pathways to home ownership." These subtle shifts create energetic openings where before there were only walls. The revelation that changed everything for me was discovering that these reframes aren't about denial or toxic positivity. They're about creating space for solutions to emerge. When your language acknowledges challenges while simultaneously affirming your agency to address them, you enter a creative mindset that attracts innovative solutions. This brings us to the second of our 3 exact words, and this one carries extraordinary manifestation power: love. This word creates an immediate vibrational shift that transforms how you relate to abundance that currently exists outside your immediate experience. When you see something you want but can't currently purchase, instead of lamenting about the price or feeling deprived, try saying, "I love seeing examples of the abundance that's available to me." This statement does something magical to your consciousness. It trains your mind to see abundance everywhere instead of focusing on what you lack. It transforms what could be a moment of envy or frustration into an opportunity for appreciation and expansion. You're essentially telling the universe, "Show me more of this abundant world." Behind the scenes, this practice is rewiring your neural pathways in profound ways. Each time you use the word love in connection with abundance that you witness but don't yet possess, you're building a bridge between your current reality and your desired experience. You're creating energetic alignment with prosperity rather than resistance to it. This approach creates a fascinating paradox that Joseph Murphy observed in the lives of wealthy individuals. The more they acknowledged and appreciated abundance they didn't yet possess, the more rapidly they began to attract similar abundance into their own experience. It's as if the universe responds to the vibration of appreciation by saying, "You notice and love this. Here's more of it, but this time it's yours." If you've started noticing evidence of abundance around you, rather than focusing on what's missing, share your insight by commenting, "I love abundance in all forms." This declaration reinforces your new relationship with the prosperity that surrounds you. Once you begin practicing these first 2 powerful words, choose and love, you'll naturally progress to the next dimension of abundant language, future self language. This revolutionary practice involves speaking as if you're already the successful, abundant person you're becoming. To be clear, this isn't about fabricating falsehoods or pretending to have material possessions you don't yet own. It's about something far more profound, speaking from the energy of your expanded self rather than your current limitations. Think about it this way. The person you are today is not the final version of you. You're in a constant state of evolution and expansion. Your future self exists as a potential reality, and when you speak from that elevated perspective, you create an energetic bridge between your current reality and that expanded state. The transformation begins when you shift from someday language to present progressive language. For example, when someone asks about your financial goals, instead of saying, "I hope to make more money someday," try, "I'm building multiple income streams and watching my wealth grow consistently." Notice the subtle yet powerful difference. The first statement pushes abundance into some undefined future. The second acknowledges that the process is already underway. You're in motion toward your destination. This linguistic alchemy combines authentic current actions with aspirational outcomes. You're not claiming to have already achieved the end result, but you are claiming ownership of the journey and expressing certainty about the destination. This subtle shift in phrasing creates a completely different energetic blueprint for the universe to respond to. What makes this approach so revolutionary is that it honors both your present reality and your future vision simultaneously. You're not denying where you currently stand, but you're also not allowing your present circumstances to define the limits of your identity or potential. You're essentially declaring, "This is where I am, and this is where I'm intentionally moving." Behind the scenes of this practice is a fascinating revelation about how identity shapes reality. When you consistently speak as your future self, your subconscious mind begins to integrate that expanded identity. Your reticular activating system starts filtering for opportunities that align with this new self-concept. Decisions that previously seemed difficult become obvious choices when viewed through the lens of your future self. The catalyst for remarkable financial transformation often occurs when your language patterns shift from "I want to be" to "I am becoming." This subtle distinction contains immense creative power. "I want" perpetuates a state of wanting, of not having. "I am becoming" acknowledges the evolutionary process that's already underway. It places you on the path rather than staring at the path from a distance. Let me offer a practical example from my own journey. Instead of saying, "I want to be financially free," I began saying, "I am developing multiple income streams that are expanding my financial freedom daily." This wasn't wishful thinking. I was taking concrete steps, however small. But speaking from this future-oriented perspective accelerated my progress in ways I couldn't have imagined. If this concept of speaking as your expanded future self resonates with you, share your commitment by commenting, "I am becoming my wealthy future self." This declaration plants a powerful seed for your financial evolution. Now let's explore another dimension of this linguistic transformation: gratitude language. This is where many people unknowingly sabotage their manifestation efforts despite their best intentions. The revelation that changed everything for me was discovering that generic gratitude statements can actually reinforce scarcity if they come from a place of settling for less rather than expecting more. Think about the energy behind statements like, "I'm grateful for what little I have," or "I should be thankful for the basics." While gratitude is essential, these particular expressions often carry an undercurrent of limitation, as if abundance is for others, but you should be content with crumbs. This mindset creates an energetic ceiling that prevents expansion. The breakthrough comes when you shift to specific appreciation that acknowledges abundance in all its forms. Instead of vague gratitude, try statements like, "I'm grateful for the unexpected $50 that showed up today," or "I appreciate how money flows to me in perfect timing." These expressions acknowledge the current reality while simultaneously opening the door to greater abundance. This brings us to the third of our three exact words, which completes this powerful prosperity triad: appreciate. This word carries a unique vibrational signature that combines gratitude with recognition of value. When you appreciate something, you're not just thanking the universe, you're declaring that you recognize its worth and expect more of the same. What makes this approach so transformative is that it directly counteracts one of the most pervasive barriers to abundance in our culture: complaint language around money. Our society encourages what I call financial complaint bonding. Those conversations where everyone competes to share their financial struggles, commiserate about prices, and reinforce limiting beliefs about money. These financial complaint sessions might seem harmless or even helpful. After all, you're just being honest or venting, right? But energetically, they're like watering weeds in your abundance garden. Every financial complaint you voice is reinforcing those very conditions in your reality. The universe doesn't distinguish between complaints and requests. It simply responds to the vibrational signature of your words. When you replace complaint language with appreciation language, you initiate a profound energetic shift. Instead of saying, "Gas prices are killing me," try, "I appreciate having transportation that gets me where I need to go." Instead of, "Taxes take everything I earn," try, "I appreciate living in a country with infrastructure that supports my business." The external facts haven't changed, but your relationship to them and the energy you're broadcasting has transformed completely. This practice requires a level of conscious awareness that most people never develop. It means becoming mindful of those moments when you're tempted to join the chorus of financial complaints and instead choosing to redirect the conversation toward appreciation. It might feel awkward at first, but the energetic impact is immediate and profound. If you've noticed how financial complaints seem to perpetuate the very conditions you're complaining about, share your insight by commenting, "I appreciate abundance flowing." This declaration reinforces your commitment to speaking the language of prosperity rather than lack. Let me show you how to apply this appreciation language in real-world social situations, which is where many people unwittingly sabotage their manifestation efforts. When someone initiates a financial complaint conversation, maybe about rising gas prices or inflation, your natural instinct might be to join in and share your own financial frustrations. This seems harmless, right? But energetically, it's one of the most damaging patterns you can engage in. Instead, try this transformative approach to redirecting these conversations. When someone says, "Gas prices are killing me," respond with something like, "It's interesting how these situations always inspire me to find new ways to increase my income." Notice how this response acknowledges their experience without adding your own complaint energy to the mix. You're not dismissing their concern, but you're also not amplifying the vibration of lack. This redirection technique works in virtually any financial complaint scenario. When someone laments about taxes, respond with how grateful you are for the business growth that led to those taxes. When someone complains about grocery prices, mention how these situations always reveal new opportunities for creativity and abundance in your life. These redirections aren't about toxic positivity. They're about consciously choosing which energetic wavelength you broadcast. The revelation that revolutionized my financial reality was recognizing how frequently I was reinforcing my own limitations through my everyday language. Every time you say, "I can't travel because it's too expensive," or "I can't start that business because I don't have the capital," you're reinforcing the very limitations you're trying to break free from. These statements might seem like objective descriptions of reality, but energetically, they're declarations to the universe about what you believe is possible for you. The breakthrough comes when you shift from limitation language to creation language. Instead of saying what you can't do, start talking about what you're creating. Replace "I can't travel because it's too expensive" with "I'm planning an amazing trip and watching for the perfect opportunity to make it happen." Instead of "I can't start a business without capital," try "I'm building my business plan and staying open to creative funding solutions." This linguistic alchemy doesn't deny current realities. It simply reframes them as temporary conditions rather than permanent barriers. It acknowledges where you are while simultaneously creating energetic openings for expansion. The words "I can't" create walls. The words "I'm creating" build bridges. What makes this approach so powerful is that it shifts your focus from what's missing to what's emerging. When you speak about what you're creating rather than what you're lacking, you train your reticular activating system to notice resources, opportunities, and pathways that were previously invisible to you. You literally begin to see a different reality because you're looking through a different lens. If you've caught yourself talking about what you can't do because of money, and you're ready to shift to creation language instead, share your commitment by commenting, "I speak possibilities, not limitations." This declaration sets the stage for the expansive reality you're creating. Now let's explore the practical implementation of these three powerful words: choose, love, and appreciate, through the transformative practice of creation language. When you shift from limitation talk to creation talk, you fundamentally alter your energetic signature. This isn't about denying reality, it's about consciously selecting which aspects of reality you emphasize and amplify. Creation language focuses on what's emerging rather than what's lacking. It acknowledges the present while simultaneously building bridges to your desired future. For example, instead of saying, "I can't afford that luxury vacation," you might say, "I'm visualizing my perfect getaway and creating the financial pathway to make it happen." The current facts remain unchanged, but the energy you're broadcasting undergoes a quantum shift. What I find most fascinating about this linguistic alchemy is how it impacts your decision-making process. When you speak in creation language, you naturally begin taking actions that align with your words. If you're building a business plan and staying open to creative funding solutions, you'll find yourself researching funding options, connecting with potential investors, or discovering alternative revenue streams you might have overlooked before. This alignment between words and actions creates a powerful momentum in your manifestation journey. Your words shape your thoughts direct your actions, and your actions produce your results. By consciously choosing creation-focused language, you initiate a positive spiral that accelerates your progress toward financial abundance. The hidden truth that most wealth teachers miss entirely is that your language doesn't just describe your reality, it actually programs your subconscious mind, which then filters your perceptions and guides your choices. When you consistently speak in terms of creation and possibility, your mind begins presenting you with opportunities and solutions that were always there but previously invisible to you. Now let's explore another critical dimension of prosperous language that's often overlooked: mastering, the language of receiving. This might be the most revolutionary concept I'm sharing with you today, because most people are terribly skilled at deflecting abundance rather than receiving it. Think about what happens when someone offers to pay for your lunch. Do you immediately protest with, "Oh no, I couldn't let you do that," or "No, let me get it"? Or when someone compliments your work, do you deflect with, "It was nothing," or "Anyone could have done it"? These seemingly polite responses are actually training the universe that you're not comfortable receiving abundance in any form. The breakthrough comes when you replace deflection language with receptive language. When someone offers to pay, try saying, "Thank you, I receive that graciously." When someone compliments your work, say, "I appreciate you recognizing my value." This might feel uncomfortable at first because many of us were taught that gracious receiving is somehow selfish or impolite. But energetically, it's essential for prosperity. If you've noticed yourself reflexively pushing away gifts, opportunities, or abundance in any form, it's time to practice the art of receiving. Share your commitment by commenting, "I am open to receiving abundance." This declaration signals to the universe that you're ready for the prosperity that's already flowing toward you. When you begin to practice receiving graciously, you'll notice something fascinating happening in your life. The frequency of opportunities, gifts, and abundance flowing to you actually increases. This isn't coincidence, it's energetic alignment. Each time you deflect abundance in any form, you're essentially telling the universe, "No thank you, I'm not ready for more." This subconscious rejection creates an energetic barrier around your prosperity. Joseph Murphy discovered this hidden principle while working with clients who seem perpetually stuck in financial limitation despite all their manifestation efforts. He realized they were habitually pushing away the very abundance they claimed to want. When offered a compliment, they deflected. When given a gift, they protested. When presented with an opportunity, they found reasons to decline. Each of these seemingly innocent social niceties was actually training their energy field to reject prosperity. The transformation begins when you recognize that receiving graciously isn't selfish. It's an essential component of the universal flow. Think of abundance as a river that naturally wants to flow to and through you. When you deflect compliments, gifts, or opportunities, you're placing dams in that river. Learning to say thank you and genuinely receive what's offered removes those dams and allows prosperity to flow freely in your life. Now I want to address the elephant in the room that might be creating skepticism as you listen to these principles. You might be thinking, this sounds great in theory, but I have real bills, real debt, and real financial pressure. How is changing my language going to fix my actual problems? This is a perfectly valid question, and I want to be completely transparent with you. Changing your language patterns won't magically deposit money in your bank account tomorrow. There's no cosmic ATM that dispenses cash when you say the right words. However, what these language shifts will absolutely do is transform your energy, your opportunities, your decisions, and your ability to recognize and act on abundance when it appears. Think about it this way. If you're constantly speaking from lack, you're training your brain's reticular activating system to look for evidence of scarcity. You'll notice every price increase, every bill, every expense. But when you start speaking from abundance, your brain begins to notice opportunities, solutions, and possibilities you were previously blind to. This isn't magical thinking. It's neuroscience applied to prosperity consciousness. The journey of financial transformation is both internal and external. The internal shifts in your language patterns create the foundation for external changes in your financial reality. Your words influence your thoughts. Your thoughts direct your focus. Your focus determines what you notice. What you notice affects the opportunities you act on, and the opportunities you act on create your results. This holistic perspective is what most financial advice completely misses. They focus exclusively on external actions, budgeting, investing, earning, without addressing the internal blueprint that drives those actions. It's like trying to build a magnificent structure on a cracked foundation. No matter how perfect your financial strategies, if your language patterns are programmed for scarcity, you'll unconsciously sabotage your own success. If you're starting to see the connection between your everyday language and your financial reality, share your insight by commenting, "My words create my wealth." This acknowledgement is the first step toward consciously creating the prosperity you deserve. Now let me explain the fascinating neuroscience behind why these language patterns are so powerful. Inside your brain is a filtering mechanism called the reticular activating system, RS. This sophisticated neural network determines what information from your environment gets your attention. It's like a bouncer at the door of your conscious awareness, deciding what gets in and what stays out. Here's where the revelation gets really interesting. Your RAS is programmed largely by your words and the questions you ask yourself. If you're constantly speaking from lack, saying things like, "I never have enough," or "Why am I always broke?" you're literally training your brain to look for evidence of scarcity. Your RS will diligently filter your environment to show you every price increase, every bill, every expense, essentially confirming the reality you've programmed it to find. But the transformation happens when you begin speaking from abundance. As you incorporate the three exact words, choose, love, and appreciate, into your daily vocabulary, your RAS begins recalibrating. Suddenly, you start noticing opportunities, solutions, and possibilities that were always there, but previously invisible to you. Your brain becomes a sophisticated opportunity detection system rather than a problem magnification machine. This isn't some mystical process. It's documented neuroscience. The pathway between your language centers and your perception filters is well established in brain research. The words you speak literally rewire your neural pathways, changing what you perceive and how you interpret your environment. Let me make this principle crystal clear with a practical example that demonstrates the profound difference between scarcity language and abundance language. Imagine you need an extra $500 this month for an unexpected expense. The scarcity language sounds like, "I don't know how I'm going to come up with this money. Things are so tight. I'm stressed about making ends meet." The abundance language sounds like, "I'm excited to discover the creative ways this $500 is going to show up. I'm open to opportunities and ready to take inspired action." The goal remains identical, finding an additional 500. But the mental and emotional state created by these different language patterns couldn't be more different. From the abundant mindset, you're more likely to notice that freelance opportunity, a friend mentions, more likely to ask for that raise you've been considering, more likely to sell those items you've been meaning to get rid of, more likely to think of services you could offer. The opportunities were always there, but your language determines whether you can see and act on them. This cognitive reframing is what Joseph Murphy called the power of your subconscious mind, the incredible ability to reshape your perception through conscious language choices. When you change your words, you literally change what you see, which changes what you do, which ultimately changes your results. If you've experienced moments where simply changing your perspective suddenly revealed solutions that were invisible before, drop in the comments. I see abundance everywhere. Your declaration acknowledges this powerful cognitive shift that's already beginning to happen. The cognitive shift we're exploring isn't just about thinking differently. It's about taking aligned action from this new mindset. This is where the rubber meets the road in your financial transformation journey. When you operate from an abundant mindset created by these three exact words, you become what I call opportunity magnetic. You not only notice possibilities that were previously invisible, but you feel naturally inspired to act on them. From this elevated perspective, you're more likely to notice that freelance opportunity mentioned in a casual conversation. You feel confident enough to ask for that. A raise you've been hesitating about. You recognize the value in those unused items, gathering dust that could be converted to cash. You discover creative services you could offer based on skills you've taken for granted. The fascinating revelation is that these opportunities were always there in your environment. Your language patterns simply determine whether you can see them and feel empowered to act. Think about how this works in practical terms. When you shift from "I'm broke" to "I'm in a temporary cash flow situation that I'm actively improving," your brain automatically begins searching for improvement strategies. When you replace "I can't afford that course" with "I'm finding creative ways to invest in my education," your mind starts generating funding solutions you wouldn't otherwise consider. Your words literally become the blueprint for your actions. This action-oriented mindset is the bridge between wishful thinking and tangible results. Many people get stuck in the trap of positive thinking without positive doing. But when your language naturally inspires aligned action, manifestation becomes a practical process rather than a mystical hope. The universe responds not just to your words, but to the energetic momentum created when your words and actions align. Now, I want to be transparent about something crucial. This transformation isn't a weekend workshop or a 7-day challenge. It's about fundamentally rewiring your relationship with prosperity, and that takes consistent practice and patient persistence. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress through daily practice. Every single day you engage with these new language patterns, you're building momentum in your prosperity consciousness. You're creating new neural pathways that eventually become your default way of thinking and speaking. Just like learning a musical instrument or mastering a sport, some days will feel more natural than others. You'll catch yourself slipping into old patterns, and that's perfectly normal. The key is to notice without judgment and gently redirect. What makes this journey so rewarding is that you're not just changing your financial situation, you're evolving your entire relationship with abundance. You're unlearning limitation programming that may have been with you since childhood. This isn't a superficial fix, it's a profound recalibration of your energetic signature. If you're committed to this practice of consistently applying these 3 exact words, choose, love, and appreciate, to rewrite your prosperity story, share your dedication by commenting, "I'm rewiring my wealth consciousness." This declaration plants the seed for the financial evolution you're embarking on. Just like learning any valuable skill, mastering these new language patterns has a natural learning curve. Some days you'll feel like you're effortlessly speaking the language of abundance, while other days you might catch yourself slipping back into old patterns of lack and limitation. This journey isn't about perfection, it's about progression and awareness. When you notice yourself using scarcity language, don't beat yourself up or abandon the process. Simply observe it, redirect your words, and continue forward. Think about it like learning to play a musical instrument. No one expects to be concert ready after a few practice sessions. There are days when the notes flow effortlessly, and days when everything feels awkward and disjointed. But each practice session, even the challenging ones, strengthens the neural pathways that eventually make the skill second nature. The same principle applies to mastering abundant language patterns. The revelation that transformed my own relationship with prosperity was discovering that setbacks are actually essential components of mastery. Each time you catch yourself using lack language and consciously redirect to abundance language, you're strengthening your prosperity consciousness far more powerfully than if you'd never slipped at all. These moments of contrast and conscious choice are the catalysts for deep, lasting transformation. Now, let me share another fascinating distinction I've observed while studying the linguistic patterns of wealthy individuals versus those who struggle financially. This insight completely changed my understanding of prosperity consciousness. The wealthy don't necessarily think about money less often, they simply think about it differently. Specifically, they've mastered what I call solution language instead of problem language. When faced with a financial challenge, most people immediately default to problem-focused statements like, "I don't have enough money," or "I can't afford this." These declarations focus entirely on the gap between where you are and where you want to be, without offering any pathway forward. It's like staring at a locked door without looking for a key. In contrast, wealthy individuals automatically redirect to solution-focused language. "I need to generate more income," or "I need to find a creative solution for this." These statements acknowledge the current reality while simultaneously opening doorways to possibility. They prime your brain to begin searching for answers rather than ruminating on problems. This subtle linguistic shift creates a completely different internal experience and external result. Problem language keeps you trapped in a loop of stress and limitation. Solution language activates your creativity, resourcefulness, and determination. One creates stagnation, the other creates momentum. Joseph Murphy observed this pattern across hundreds of clients during his research. Those who consistently spoke in terms of solutions rather than problems invariably expanded their financial circumstances, even when starting from extremely limited situations. The ability to language challenges as opportunities for creative problem-solving rather than immovable obstacles became a defining characteristic of those who successfully transformed their financial reality. What's particularly fascinating is how quickly this language pattern can be adopted once you're aware of it. Each time you catch yourself describing a financial problem, simply ask, what's the solution-focused way to express this? This single question initiates a powerful pivot in your prosperity consciousness. If you've noticed yourself focusing on money problems instead of money solutions, share your insight by commenting, "I speak solutions, not problems." This commitment to solution-focused language is a game changer in your financial transformation. Let me take you behind the scenes of the wealthy mindset as decoded through Joseph Murphy's groundbreaking research. One of the most illuminating discoveries he made challenges everything most of us believe about how the wealthy think about money. Contrary to popular belief, wealthy people don't achieve financial freedom because they never think about money problems. In fact, they often think about money just as frequently as those who struggle financially, but with a crucial distinction in their approach. The revelation that changed everything is this: wealthy individuals have trained themselves to think predominantly about money solutions rather than dwelling on money problems. They've developed what Murphy called a solution consciousness that automatically redirects their focus whenever financial challenges arise. This mental reflex doesn't deny problems, but immediately transforms them into opportunities for creative problem solving. I've observed this pattern consistently while studying successful entrepreneurs and investors. When faced with a financial setback, they experience the initial emotional response just like anyone else, perhaps disappointment or concern, but their linguistic patterns quickly shift to solution-finding mode. This isn't an inborn trait, but a consciously cultivated habit that anyone can develop with practice. The transformation begins by intentionally creating a solution-oriented vocabulary that replaces problem-focused language. This isn't about toxic positivity or denying challenges. It's about linguistic framing that empowers rather than disempowers. When facing a financial challenge, instead of defaulting to "I don't have enough money," which focuses entirely on the lack, try "I need to generate more income," or "I need to find a creative solution for this." Notice the profound, energetic shift between these statements. The first one creates a dead end, a declaration of limitation with nowhere to go. The second and third options acknowledge the current reality while simultaneously opening pathways to potential solutions. They activate your brain's problem-solving capabilities instead of its worry circuits. What makes this linguistic shift so powerful is that it automatically redirects your focus from helplessness to empowered problem-solving. When you state, "I don't have enough money," your brain essentially stops searching for solutions because you've defined the situation as a fixed state rather than a temporary challenge. But when you say, "I need to generate more income," your mind naturally begins scanning for opportunities, resources, and creative approaches. This solution vocabulary creates a completely different emotional state as well. Problem-focused language tends to generate feelings of anxiety, frustration, and defeat. Solution-focused language naturally produces feelings of determination, creativity, and possibility. And as we've explored, your emotional state dramatically impacts what opportunities you notice and act upon. I've witnessed remarkable financial breakthroughs when people begin consistently implementing this simple linguistic shift. One client, who had been stuck in financial struggle for years, transformed her situation within months after adopting solution-focused language. She didn't change her job or suddenly receive an inheritance. She changed how she spoke about money challenges, which led to noticing and acting on opportunities that had been there all along. If you're ready to adopt this solution-oriented vocabulary that the wealthy use naturally, share your commitment by commenting, "Solutions become my language." This simple declaration plants the seed for a profound shift in how you approach every financial situation from this moment forward. Now, let's explore another crucial dimension of this prosperity: language transformation that most people completely overlook. The importance of intentionally curating your language environment. Think about it. Language isn't created in a vacuum. We're constantly absorbing and reflecting the verbal patterns of those around us, often without conscious awareness. This environmental influence can either accelerate your prosperity consciousness or sabotage it entirely. Just as you would carefully select the nutritional inputs for your physical body, you need to become equally selective about the linguistic inputs for your mental and energetic body. This means being intentional about the conversations you engage in, the social media you consume, and even the news you watch. If you're constantly surrounded by people who speak from lack, limitation, and financial fear, maintaining your new abundant language patterns will feel like swimming upstream against a powerful current. This isn't about judging others or isolating yourself from loved ones. It's about creating conscious boundaries around the language patterns you regularly expose yourself to. You might notice that after implementing these 3 exact words in your own vocabulary, you become more aware of how frequently those around you speak from scarcity. This heightened awareness is a positive sign of your evolving prosperity consciousness. The revelation that transformed my own journey was recognizing that environment often trumps willpower. No matter how committed you are to speaking abundantly, if you're marinating in scarcity conversation all day long, that energy will inevitably seep into your consciousness. The solution isn't to abandon your social circles, but to supplement them with intentional exposure to abundance-oriented language. Look for content creators, books, podcasts, and communities that deliberately speak the language of possibility and growth. These voices become your prosperity mentors, modeling the linguistic patterns that align with the financial reality you're creating. This intentional immersion accelerates your transformation by normalizing abundant language in your daily experience. What fascinates me most about this environmental influence is how rapidly it can shift your default linguistic settings. When you regularly expose yourself to people who naturally speak in terms of opportunity, possibility, and creative solutions, you begin automatically adopting these patterns yourself. It's like learning a language through immersion rather than isolated study. You absorb it almost effortlessly through consistent exposure. This intentional curation creates a powerful ecosystem for your prosperity journey. Think of it as designing a greenhouse specifically optimized for growing financial abundance. You're carefully selecting the environmental conditions, temperature, humidity, soil quality, that will best support the seeds of wealth consciousness you're planting. Feed your mind with words that inspire expansion rather than contraction, and watch how your own language naturally evolves in response. The digital age offers unprecedented opportunities for this kind of intentional curation. You can create playlists of prosperity-focused content, join online communities dedicated to abundance consciousness, and follow social media accounts that consistently model the language patterns you're working to develop. These resources become invaluable allies on your journey, especially during those inevitable days when maintaining abundant language feels challenging. If you've begun noticing how the language environment around you impacts your own prosperity consciousness, share your experience by commenting, "I curate my language environment." This declaration affirms your commitment to surrounding yourself with words that support rather than undermine your financial transformation. Now that we've explored the importance of curating your language environment, let me introduce a practical tool that will accelerate your prosperity transformation, creating what I call an abundance phrasebook. This simple yet powerful practice involves intentionally crafting 20-30 phrases that feel authentic to you and reflect the financial reality you're actively creating rather than the one you're currently experiencing. Think of this collection as your prosperity lexicon, a personalized vocabulary that bridges the gap between your current circumstances and your desired financial experience. These phrases should incorporate our three exact words: choose, love, and appreciate, while expressing the specific manifestations of abundance you want to attract. Your abundance phrasebook might include statements like, "Money flows to me easily and consistently. I'm always in the right place at the right time for financial opportunities. I choose abundance in all forms. I love watching my investments grow. I appreciate my expanding prosperity," or "I trust my ability to create wealth." The key to creating an effective abundance phrasebook is authenticity mixed with aspiration. These statements shouldn't feel like outright lies that trigger your internal resistance, but they should stretch beyond your current comfort zone. They're designed to create an energetic bridge between where you are and where you're going. What makes this practice so transformative is that it provides ready alternatives for those moments when you catch yourself about to speak from lack. Instead of fumbling for a better way to express yourself, you have pre-crafted language that aligns with your prosperity goals. This removes the hesitation that often accompanies language pattern changes and allows for more consistent implementation. Keep your phrasebook accessible, perhaps as a note on your phone, a small journal you carry with you, or even as a screensaver on your devices. The goal is to refer to it throughout your day, especially during those transition periods when you're most likely to default to old patterns. When you catch yourself about to say something like, "I can't afford that," or "money is tight right now," pause and choose one of your abundance phrases instead. The decision point between these two options, speaking from lack or speaking from abundance, represents a pivotal moment in your manifestation journey. Each time you consciously choose the abundant alternative, you're essentially voting for the reality you want to create. These small linguistic choices might seem inconsequential in isolation, but collectively, they create a powerful momentum toward prosperity. What I find most fascinating about this practice is how quickly these phrases begin to feel natural. What initially might seem like affirmations gradually transform into your authentic voice. They become the neural default rather than the conscious override. This evolution signals a profound shift in your prosperity consciousness. You're no longer just saying the words, you're embodying the energy they represent. Joseph Murphy documented this progression in his research subjects. Those who diligently practiced speaking from their abundance phrasebooks eventually reached a tipping point where prosperous language felt more natural than scarcity language. This linguistic transformation preceded their external financial breakthroughs, creating the energetic foundation for material changes to manifest. If you're inspired to create your own abundance phrasebook with expressions that genuinely resonate with your financial vision, let me know by commenting, "My phrasebook is ready." Your declaration signals to both your conscious and subconscious mind that you're fully committed to this prosperity language transformation. Now let me share something remarkable that happens when you begin consistently implementing these three exact words and your abundance phrasebook, something that extends far beyond your internal experience. As you shift your language patterns toward prosperity consciousness, people will begin responding to you differently in ways that might surprise you. There's a palpable energy that accompanies abundant language that others can sense, even if they can't articulate what's changed about you. This phenomenon, which I call the magnetic presence effect, creates a fascinating ripple through your professional and personal relationships. Opportunities start flowing toward you more naturally. People begin thinking of you when job openings arise, when business collaborations form, or when investment opportunities emerge. This isn't coincidence or magical thinking. It's a direct reflection of the energetic shift you've created through your linguistic transformation. What's happening behind the scenes is a profound realignment of how others perceive your value and potential. When you consistently speak from lack, limitation, and financial fear, you unknowingly broadcast an energy of desperation that actually repels the very opportunities you're seeking. Think about your own experience. Aren't you naturally hesitant to recommend someone for an opportunity if they're constantly talking about how broke they are or how nothing ever works out for them? The journey from repelling to attracting opportunities begins with this linguistic revolution. As your words shift from scarcity to abundance, you become someone others genuinely want to include, support, and do business with. You're no longer radiating neediness and desperation, but confidence and readiness for success. This energetic signature is magnetic in ways that transcend logical explanation. I witnessed this transformation in a client who had been stuck in the same position for years despite having exceptional qualifications. As she began implementing these 3 exact words and speaking consistently from abundance rather than lack, her colleagues and superiors started responding to her differently. Within months, she was offered a leadership position that hadn't even existed previously. It was created specifically for her, based on the value others suddenly perceived in her contributions. The revelation that changed everything for her was recognizing that her language wasn't just describing her reality, it was actively creating how others perceived and responded to her. When she stopped talking about being passed over and undervalued and started speaking about contributing at her highest level and appreciating opportunities for growth, the entire ecosystem around her recalibrated in response. This dynamic operates through both conscious and unconscious channels. Consciously, people are simply more drawn to those who speak with confidence and possibility. Subconsciously, your linguistic patterns create an energetic frequency that either attracts or repels opportunities on a level beyond rational explanation. Joseph Murphy called this the law of correspondence. Your outer world inevitably reflecting the inner reality you've created through your words and thoughts. If you've noticed shifts in how others respond to you when you speak differently about money and success, share your experience by commenting, "My energy attracts opportunity." This acknowledgement reinforces the powerful connection between your words and your magnetic presence in the world. Now let me illuminate a critical element of this prosperity language transformation that many manifestation teachers completely miss: the essential relationship between abundant language and aligned action. There's a common misconception that speaking prosperously is somehow a substitute for taking concrete steps toward your financial goals. The profound truth is that speaking abundantly isn't a replacement for action. It's the energetic foundation that makes your actions infinitely more effective. When you operate from the vibrational signature created by these 3 exact words, choose, love, and appreciate, the quality of your decisions undergoes a remarkable shift. You make choices from a place of empowered clarity rather than desperate reaction. Your negotiations become more confident because you're speaking from a place of recognized value rather than perceived need. You become more willing to invest in yourself and your growth because you trust in your ability to generate returns. This integration of language and action creates what Joseph Murphy called the prosperity circuit, a complete energetic loop that allows abundance to flow freely into your experience. Your words create the vibrational blueprint, and your actions build the physical structure that allows that blueprint to materialize. Either element alone is incomplete. Together, they form an unbeatable manifestation strategy. Let me illustrate this principle with a practical example that many of us face at some point, searching for a new job or career opportunity. When operating from scarcity language, this process sounds something like, "I hope someone will hire me," or "I need this job so badly," or "Please give me a chance." This linguistic pattern creates an energetic foundation of desperation, neediness, and lack of confidence, not exactly the qualities that attract premium opportunities. In contrast, abundant language during a job search sounds like, "I'm excited to find the perfect role where I can contribute my unique value," or "I'm confidently connecting with organizations that align with my skills and vision." The objective circumstances haven't changed. You're still looking for employment, but your relationship to those circumstances has undergone a complete transformation. Here's the fascinating part. Employers, hiring managers, and potential clients can absolutely feel this energetic difference, even if they can't consciously identify what it is. Human beings are remarkably attuned to subtle energetic signals. When you walk into an interview radiating confidence, value, and selective discernment rather than desperation and neediness, you create an entirely different impression. This principle applies across every area of financial action: investing, negotiating, selling, purchasing, or building businesses. The language you use creates the energetic foundation from which all your actions proceed. When that foundation is built on these three exact words, choose, love, and appreciate, your actions naturally align with prosperity consciousness rather than scarcity programming. The transformation occurs when you recognize that your words and actions aren't separate components of wealth creation, but integrated aspects of a unified manifestation process. The words shape the energy directs the actions create the results, and the cycle continues with increasing momentum. If you're ready to combine your new prosperity language with aligned action, share your commitment by commenting, "My words and actions align for wealth." This declaration sets the stage for the complete prosperity circuit that's about to transform your financial reality. As we wrap up our exploration of these three powerful words, choose, love, and appreciate, I want to acknowledge something important. If you've made it this far in our conversation, you're already demonstrating the exact commitment to transformation that separates those who create prosperity from those who merely wish for it. Your dedication to rewiring your prosperity consciousness speaks volumes about the abundance that's already flowing toward you. Remember, every millionaire started exactly where you are right now, with a decision to speak differently, think differently, and act differently than they had been. They didn't possess magical secrets or special advantages. They simply aligned their language with their desires and took consistent action from that aligned place. Your words are creating your reality right now, whether you believe it or not. The question is, what reality do you want to create? If this message resonated deeply with you today, I'd love for you to write in the comments, "These three words are transforming my reality." This declaration not only reinforces your commitment, but connects you with others on the same prosperity journey. I'd be truly grateful if you'd hit the like button on this video, not just as a courtesy, but as a declaration that you're actively choosing the language of abundance over limitation. Each like helps this message reach others who are ready for the same transformation you're experiencing. If you're finding value in these prosperity principles, consider subscribing to join our community of conscious wealth creators. Each week, I share specific techniques and insights to accelerate your financial evolution using the principles we've explored today. There's a video right here that takes these principles even deeper, revealing the exact morning ritual that amplifies the power of these three words. Click and continue with me there as we expand your prosperity consciousness even further. Until next time, remember that wealth begins with your words, and your $1 million reality is already in motion.